What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday, Nintendo posted their Q1 financial results for the current fiscal year, giving us an idea as to where the Switch 2 is 1 year in, and even going further to double down on a certain big release that'll be out in a few months, but we'll go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, as we did get the announcement for an extended look, a big trailer or gameplay, I guess, for the game. But it's not necessarily going to be shown in the place that we were expecting, and then that alone has caused all kinds of controversy online. And we have Sony back in the news. It's been a ride for them so far, and now it seems like they're exploring, you guessed it, other ways to monetize their current user base, and we'll see what they have in store for us there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Guys, we're every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, going over the world of gaming news, trying to keep you up to date here on YouTube and even on Spotify. Video and audio there available. So just know if you don't get a notification in the morning, there's probably a video here to check out. And we're going to start today with Digimon, and specifically Bandai Namco. As we can see this is over on GamesTalk.com. It says Bandai Namco Entertainment president revealed that the Digimon IP developed by Bandai Namco has achieved record profits, surpassing those generated during the anime's broadcast in 2000. This was in an interview with the Weekly Famitsu that released August 6th. And I saw this and said, man, that felt like that was like the height of Digimon. At least for me it was, because that was back in the day on, on TV, even in the morning. It's like, or Toonami or wherever else. It's like, oh yeah, here's Digimon right there alongside, at least in my mind, next to Pokemon. You look back on it, Pokemon was crazy, right? So maybe not necessarily that far, but the fact that they are actually above that now, and they're pointing to things like Digimon Story Time Stranger as a big reason, goes to show you that, yeah, if they put a decent budget behind a game for Digimon, it actually can work. So I hope they take that message forward with them and work to create similarly high quality Digimon games, we'll say, even to surpass Time Stranger, because that game actually turned out to be pretty good. Also, we have some news about the Legend of Zelda movie that's coming out next year, as we now have, I guess, some of the casting getting out there seemingly a bit early. Like we can see, this is over on Deadline, saying Australian actor Yuli Latkefu has landed a major role. He'll play the lead villain Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda. This is Sony and Nintendo's live-action feature film. Interesting, right, to have them together there, but still, this, of course, then confirms that, yes, go figure, Ganondorf is going to be in the movie. Shocking? No. But I do think, after looking into this guy a little bit more, I was very unfamiliar. Apparently, he played Young Rock, but he's this big guy, so it actually makes sense for him to be Ganondorf, to, kind of, in that case, dwarf Link, and be like the big bad in the movie. So interesting to see how that'll play out, and of course see Ganondorf, Link, Zelda, all these people reprised on the big screen in 2027.
Today's video is sponsored by VITURE and their brand new Pro 2 XR glasses. I've had a chance to spend some time with these, and what really surprised me the most was just how comfortable they are to actually use. VITURE focused on making a pair of XR glasses you can wear for long gaming sessions without constantly thinking about them. They're only 63 grams, they're thinner than the previous model, and they honestly feel much closer to wearing a normal pair of sunglasses. Once you put them on, you get this huge private display that's perfect for gaming, watching movies, or even just getting through a backlog on a flight. The new Ultra Clarity 3.0 optics make a big difference. The image stays sharp across the entire screen instead of just looking good in the center, and they push the brightness up to 1600 nits, which really helps in brighter environments. If you're nearsighted like me, you can use the built-in adjustable diopter to dial in each eye individually without needing prescription inserts or clip-on lenses. Oh, and they got the Switch 2 players covered here. They also released the Mobile Dock Mini, which snaps onto the system, lets you charge while you play, and gives you that giant private screen almost anywhere. It's a really clean setup if you like playing handheld, but want something much larger. The VITURE Pro 2 XR glasses come in at a low price of $299, and you can save $20 when buying the Mobile Dock Mini combo. Click the link in the description below to learn more about the VITURE Pro 2 XR glasses and take the big screen on the go with you today. Big shout out to VITURE for sponsoring today's video.
And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo and their Q1 for the current fiscal year for 2027. That's when it'll be ending. But we do have a comparable now to the launch of the Switch 2, which, go figure, when you look at just units sold, for example, it will be down. But as we'll see, overall profit generation is up, and there is one specific caveat to that, but we also had some updates on game sales and some questions as to omissions for certain games as well, and some future guidance when it comes to games coming up here in 2026. And yes, that does include the big release, the big elephant in the room people are asking for right now with Nintendo. But we'll take a look over on their investor relations page. And I will start with some of the money stuff. Net sales, $3.25 billion. They were down 9.5% compared to last year's Q1 with, of course, the Switch 2 launch. But their operating profit was up. So it was actually up 150%, $894 million. Now, why is that? Well, it turns out the tariff refunds helped quite a bit. So congratulations, everyone who helped out with that. They collected, they even say $300 million for the tariff refunds. So we've been over that multiple times now. Yeah, it's annoying. Okay, so moving on to the hardware, the Switch 2. 3.82 million systems sold. That is down again from last year, but again, we're comparing to the launch of the Switch 2. That is actually a very good Q1 for Nintendo. 3.82 million, nearly 4 million systems sold in this last quarter. Now bringing the total up to 23.68 million. Yes, that means the Switch 2 has surpassed the GameCube. There you go. So next up with them would be the N64. But that I kind of wonder if this Q1 could be due to people rushing out to get the system, because the price is going to go up starting in September here in the US, for example. So it's very possible that could be a thing where people are just like, you know what, I'm going to get it now before the price goes up, and then most likely even goes up again, we'll say next year. The Switch 1, though, 660,000 systems sold, now sitting at 156.59 million. The road to the PS2, it needs another 4 million or so. I know people out there are like, well, Sony raised the amount. I mean, yeah, they did. We know. But they also have a PS2 that has that literal number printed on it. So, I mean, they have the proof of it. It is funny, though, you're right, that they decided to just make that known, put it out there. But, I mean, they again, a little more than 4 million or so to go to be able to reach that mark. Will they get there? Really depends on how long they support the Switch 1. I kind of think it's going to be longer than even Nintendo expects, because of where we're sitting right now with price increases on systems across the board. They are still forecasting 16.5 million Switch 2 systems for the remainder of this fiscal year. So they'll be well into like 30 some odd million or so by the time they wrap this up, provided, of course, they can produce enough Switch 2 systems to reach that amount. Let's move over to the software. The Switch 2, 9.46 million units. The Switch 1, though, 33.81 million units. It makes sense. There's just way more Switch 1 games out there than the Switch 2. And you can play those Switch 1 games on the Switch, and there's like the enhancements and Switch 2 edition, so it is kind of muddy tracking exactly Switch 2 versus Switch 1 software, but it's kind of all the same to Nintendo, at least right now in this cross-gen period. Digital sales share, though, 61.5%. Kind of difficult to gauge exactly what it would be if you just remove the physical digital games, right? Ones you can buy either way, full price games, because the 61.5% does also reflect things like add-on content, microtransactions, stuff like that. It does seem like we're still roughly in the ballpark for Nintendo of half and half. Although it wouldn't shock me if digital has slightly overtaken physical games at this point. Nintendo is also kind of pushing people in that direction, with digital games just being cheaper than physical. Still, though, Nintendo does seem to find a lot of value in retail, because that still makes up a large chunk of their like normal big, full price releases. Tamagotchi Life, though, big standout here, guys. 8 million copies is absurd for that game. Wow. That's that kind of feels a little bit like that Animal Crossing launch, where you figure it was gonna be big. This thing just jumped off the page completely, and I think it's just gonna continue to sell. Like, it's gonna be a game that Nintendo might even, repackage it in Switch 2 box art or something down the road, because it'll be around for that long, right, being sold on store shelves. Unfortunately, Star Fox and Yoshi, the Mysterious Book, were not present at all in this report in terms of sales, which means neither of them reached 1 million copies sold. Star Fox, though, keep in mind, this would have tracked 5 days of it being on the market. Yoshi, what can I say? I mean, it just maybe didn't have necessarily the selling power, but Nintendo says they perform steadily, which not exactly an over-enthusiastic statement for it. Another one that was kind of missing here, still, Mario Tennis Fever. Now, maybe they weren't going to report new sales figures and talk about it next to Star Fox and Yoshi because it didn't launch in that quarter. My point is, I don't think it's reached 1 million units yet, because it came out in February, and their Switch 2 sales, the ones that they show off on their page, starts at 1.15 million with Mario Party Jamboree. So unfortunately, Mario Tennis Fever, that one kind of feels like it just flopped. I mean, it was a $70 game. I think that a lot of people noticed that and went, ooh, that feels expensive. The market's reacting then with that thought process. Mario Kart World, though, is still the best-selling overall Switch 2 game at 15.39 million units sold. Some other milestones: Animal Crossing New Horizons has crossed the 50 million mark now, which is super impressive. And we have Mario Odyssey sitting above 30 million. That's 30.8 million total. Nintendo did say that third-party support is quite a bit stronger than the Switch 1's first year. And yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we're seeing Capcom, for example, go crazy with the system. Cyberpunk was there at launch, and to me, it's just we're seeing a ton of third-party stuff hit this platform. First year, but now even going into second year with, I mean, look at the sports lineup that's just about across the board there, but then also Call of Duty. And I know some of you out there don't really play these games. Those are really big for the mainstream, and that is something that is just a benefit at this point for Nintendo, because they do have a system at this time that is closer to some of the others and can handle these different games. And then also, it does kind of fly under the radar a bit, but those game key cards, I think, have saved Nintendo with some of these third-party relations, because at least gives them a way onto the platform, where if it was just straight up cartridges, I think there'd be many games that just flat out skip the system because they're not able to do it at all. I'm thinking of even Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth that exceed 100 gigabytes each. It's just not really possible at all for even a 64 gigabyte cartridge. Now, when it comes to their first party lineup, they say there are no changes. And yeah, that means that Ocarina of Time is still coming out this year. And this would have been the spot where if Nintendo had to delay it, they probably would have, because they are communicating directly to investors. So at this time, I mean, I'm kind of expecting a Zelda Direct to happen in the next few weeks. I figured they want to talk about the lineup here, especially with Ocarina of Time, before September, because if it's coming out in November, even right alongside, we'll say, of GTA 6, you're going to be just a couple of months out. I mean, they can get away with it because it's Ocarina of Time, and you probably don't need like a super long run-up for release, since we know it exists, we know it's coming out this year, and we know the game from its multiple previous installments. But it would be nice to get a better look at that game, and I would also like to see what other fun things they have planned for the Legend of Zelda 40th anniversary. And then, of course, the movie. So here's hoping they have something planned for August. If we get into September, though, people are definitely going to be starting to ask a lot of questions around this whole thing. Next up, let's talk about GTA 6, because we are indeed getting an extended look at the game, which makes sense because we haven't really seen any gameplay for GTA 6, and it's coming out November 19th. So it'd probably be a good idea to at least get a look at the game that people are already pre-ordering in droves at this time. All right, well, the extended look, it's going to happen at the end of this month, and it's going to be first on Netflix, which is a decision. Let's take a look. This is over on Rockstar Games' website, saying Grand Theft Auto 6, an extended look, will premiere on Netflix Thursday, August 27th, 3 p.m. Eastern. It will also launch on the official Rockstar Games YouTube channel and the Grand Theft Auto 6 site at 9 p.m. Eastern on August 27th. In fact, if you go over to Netflix's site, I mean, they have it completely set up here. The press release was out. They have a countdown timer that is now live there. Yes, this is a big deal for Netflix to lock down the first extended look at GTA 6. And I was curious how this would be covered exactly, because in my mind, it's like, okay, Netflix bought basically a 6-hour window of exclusivity for any video or information coming out. Will they start striking down anyone who is posting video that they are hosting? Well, this, we can see, according to Steve Vegvari over on social media, says, for all content creators worried about Netflix striking the Grand Theft Auto 6 extended look, you're welcome to cover it as you wish, reaction videos, breakdowns, etc. once it's live. This, according to a Netflix representative. Now, there is no mention there on co-streaming, so I would still be kind of careful with that one until we get another comment. Fortunately, it's still 3 weeks away, so I'd like to think Netflix might even put out some kind of like content sharing guideline ahead of this, just so everyone is clear, because I've seen this before where we go into like an E3 or something and Ubisoft is like, oh, you can co-stream this, But then they show Just Dance, and it's a ton of music that gets struck down and at times even block your channel. That happened to me, and I had to get that cleared up. So while Netflix could be like, yeah, you're good, there could be all kinds of licensed music that plays and can mess everything up anyway. But the thing that's really throwing people off, yeah, we do indeed have what really comes down to marketing being put behind a paywall that is Netflix. Here's the thing, okay, and I've said this so many times, and I need people to really understand this. GTA 6 is, I don't see it setting any kind of precedent for the gaming industry. Like, GTA 6 is such an outlier case that the way I have to assume this worked out, Netflix said, how are some interesting ways we can get people to our platform? Wow, look at GTA 6. It's going crazy online. Rather than take tens of millions of dollars, I'm sure it was quite a bit, and put it towards some straight to DVD-like movie, that we'll put on Netflix, why don't we just lock down exclusivity for 6 hours or whatever it was, a day or something they were originally planning, and do whatever GTA 6 is going to have shown with their extended look at the game for the first time seeing gameplay. They probably presented at the Rockstar or Take-Two. They said, hey, that's free money. Okay. And that was it. Do you think Netflix is going to go around just all of a sudden approaching all these different video games and I don't think so. This is such like a one-off thing, I feel like. But it is super weird, isn't it? It's like, wait, you're going to put that on Netflix? I mean, technically you wait 6 hours, it'll be there. Apparently people can just start sharing information. So if you're just reading on websites, watching YouTube videos, or on social media, you'll get the overall gist of the whole thing. But it's like, man, they don't even just want to drop it on YouTube right away. They're even looking for ways technically to monetize presenting the game in trailer format before the thing's even out. So hey, GTA fans are excited for it. They're like, I got Netflix. I mean, I have Netflix too, so, I'll fire it up. Obviously, I'll check it out, take notes, do the whole thing, and then I'll do coverage here anyway. So, hey, we'll see how things go when it comes to Netflix and their automatic content ID. Hopefully, what the representative is saying is correct, and we're still here the next day. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Sony working to monetize their user base further, which they've said that themselves. They're like, hey, we're going to look to monetize the overall player base more and more as we go along with investors. Like, they've already discussed this multiple times now as ways that they can, yes, bring in more money. Well, one method that we are seeing many companies explore further would be advertising, whether it's on the dashboard of your game system or just in games outright, even in like real time. Even pulling real-time analytics based on what you're searching or looking around for and just showing you that. Well, we can see this. This is over on pushsquare.com saying Digiday spotted a series of new job listings posted last month by the platform holder, which imply it's looking to explore new advertising opportunities across the PlayStation ecosystem. It's perhaps worth noting that these could encompass a broad range of strategies that includes PlayStation Plus partnerships, PlayStation Store placements, or even collaborations on content. Crucial to the job listing is that it specifically mentions non-endemic brands. That means the scope here extends beyond promoting any upcoming games. Instead, looking at non-gaming products like Coca-Cola or McDonald's. I like how it goes to fast food and sugary drinks immediately for us gamers. Look, I will say it does feel like everything around me wants to advertise more than ever. I got the LG C5 a while ago, right? And I set it all up and stuff, and I sit back and let's play some games. And I turn the thing on, and after a few minutes, I feel like the TV was like, hey, do you want to DoorDash something? Do I want to what? I was just looking for the HDR settings. But okay, now I think that's what they think is going to happen there. It's interesting the way that they have all this played out to where it's all interconnected and it's always online. So sure, if you're Sony, Microsoft, probably Nintendo. We've already talked about how EA obviously is looking into this. Take-Two is looking into this. And it's just ways to try to, advertise to you, but do it quietly almost, to where you'll scroll through your dashboard or you're looking through the marketplace store. And sure, there's a Coca-Cola ad. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, and then you just keep scrolling, but it's not something that necessarily takes over the entire screen. We've seen those as well with Xbox does that when you turn the system on, and it might advertise a game to you or something Game Pass related, but at least it's still games. It's just when you start seeing restaurants and whatever else pop up that it starts to get a little more noticeable there. And that's the idea of these different jobs or people that are being hired. How do you make it as seamless as possible so yes, they can just get more money out of you technically just from your attention and your eyeballs. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, do you currently have a Netflix subscription? 54% say no, 46% say yes. So I don't know if people are gonna sign up for Netflix to see this GTA 6 extended look, since it'll just be on YouTube like 6 hours later. I guess some people might, because they're big GTA fans. They want to see it happen with everyone else all at the same time. But there's going to be coverage and write-ups and screenshots. And so I think more or less people, if they don't have Netflix, will just wait. But here's the thing with Netflix. The whole point of this is just advertising and awareness. And think about how many headlines yesterday had Netflix and GTA 6 right next to each other. So that's already kind of a win for them. And then people will be talking about it all throughout the rest of this month on the build-up. And then when it actually happens, they get to show off most likely the first real gameplay of GTA 6. And that's the whole point of this with Netflix when they put up this kind of money. It's to try to get people aware of their overall their platform, and then also link it to gaming in a way. So I don't think this is gonna be a blueprint going forward for Netflix or most gaming companies, because most gaming companies don't have a behemoth that is GTA 6. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Kyle, who says, I miss when some achievements that you unlocked would reward you with new items for your Xbox avatar. Dude, those were the days when you had the little Xbox avatar when you sign in, and it was a whole big thing where it didn't look as... See, the dashboard right now for the Xbox looks, what's the word? Maybe kind of, I don't want to say plain, but kind of sterile. It seemed like they were just having more fun with interesting and weird designs and trying to make it be more like a video game console back during the 360 days. And the avatar thing got a little out of hand when they tried to connect it, have it with the Kinect, and they were showing you the bottom of an avatar's foot and stuff. That was weird, but I do like the idea of getting extra things for your profile or your character by doing achievements, especially when you get one that was really cool and you got like a shirt for your avatar and someone saw it and they were like, whoa, they got that achievement. Those are the kinds of things that are really fun for the community that kind of feel like we lost a bit since those days. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you wanted to hear about how the way the industry's gone, it's kind of shown that Nintendo has been right for quite some time with the Switch 1 and now even the Switch 2. I talked about that in the video, and I'll leave it right below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.